It's important to realize that they will never change. As long as a person doesn't want to be changed, they will never change. Instead, focus your own energy onto yourself, because that's the only thing you can do. Plan your exit strategy. Firstly, figure out how long you're gonna be there, and secondly, figure out how much time you need to get out. And while you still have to stay with them, just stay calm. Don't pay any attention to them, because the only thing they want out of you is to suck your energy. I grew up in a very narcissistic, toxic, abusive, very emotionally immature household. I never felt safe in my home, what was supposed to be my safe place. I never felt valued, respected, and I never felt like a real person growing up. I always felt like I was this unimportant side character who was owned by someone else. And I just want to let you know that if you're going through the same thing, you are much more stronger than you realize. Going through abuse, being abused whether physically or mentally, changes your brain in such messed up way. It takes literally years to heal. Our brain gets altered in a huge way, especially our prefrontal cortex and our hippocampus, which results in higher susceptibility to stress and impaired cognitive functions. How many times have you felt completely insane, or you couldn't remember what just happened? So many times I felt like I was going crazy and that I wasn't being gaslighted, but that I was literally losing my own mind. You have to realize that narcissistic people don't change. Yes, all people change as we grow, but in order for a person to grow, we have to learn from our mistakes and have at least a little bit of self-reflection, which narcissistic people don't have. Narcissistic people don't realize that their actions are hurting other people. They lack empathy and they will never, never ever realize the damage that they have caused. If anything, they will belittle you and disregard their own emotions in order to keep control over you. I know that it is a tough pill to swallow, that the person who should care for you, nourish you, and love you unconditionally is a narcissist, but there is sadly nothing you can do. No matter how hard you try to change them, they won't change. As long as a person does not want to be changed, they will never change. Narcissistic people just want a reaction from you. They want to suck all your energy because they have nothing better to do in their lives. In their world, everything revolves around them, and they don't realize how much emotional damage they are causing to other people. So stop wasting all your energy and focus inward. Focus on yourself. If they try to cause a drama, just ignore them. I know that it is easier said than done, but in order to have peace and keep sane, this is what you have to do. If possible, just try to ignore the narcissistic person you are dealing with. This not only applies to family, but also to any narcissist you meet in life. This method is called gray rocking. When someone is trying to get a reaction from you and trigger you with their words, just ignore them. Or if you can't ignore them, just act uninterested. Don't get too emotional, because once they can feel that you are putting emotion into your reply, like for example anger, or you are getting sad, or just overall any emotion, is enough for them to start drama. So the important thing is to act uninterested. Just nod your head, reply in such way like, oh yeah. Like, don't put any emotion into your replies, because they will react. They will pick up on it. Also, if possible, try to leave the room or try to leave the area the narcissistic person is located, or just put your headphones in if it's your family and you don't have to engage in conversation. If they constantly nag at you to reply, just act uninterested. Just because your parents birthed you and they fulfill all your basic needs, it doesn't give them the entitlement to treat you like trash. In all relationships, even family, there need to be boundaries. You just can't abuse someone mentally and then beat them up because you can. I know that it is tempting to talk to other people about their situation and to seek reassurance about their situation, However, I highly recommend that you don't, because people who have not gone through abuse will not understand. When I was younger, I used to talk about my situation to people around me, for example, my classmates, because I thought that everyone is going through similar things like me. However, every time I told someone what I was going through, I either ended up being told that I'm crazy and I'm making this up, or people would tell me that, oh, but they are your parents, I'm sure they mean well. Oh, but you know, your parents love you and they would never do anything to hurt you. Or someone would tell me that it's your family, it's blood, you should love them no matter what. No, blood or no blood, I would never treat anyone the way I was being treated. Even if I hated someone from the bottom of my heart, I would never treat them like this. Yes, I'm aware that it is their first time being parent and their excuse is, oh, but I was raised like this, so I don't know any better. What do you mean you don't know any better? I have never been a parent, and yet I know that I would not want my child to be raised like this. I would never allow anyone to treat my child like this. What I highly recommend instead of talking to other people is to keep a journal or a password protected file on your computer or mobile phone that you can write down what's happening or what have you gone through and how you feel. Not only is this a great way to remember what you have gone through, because trust me, once you are out of the situation or once the situation gets slightly better, your brain will trick you into thinking that it wasn't that bad. But once you read what actually happened, you will realize that that's not true. And also, you will keep your emotions from battling up inside, which is never a good thing to do. I personally know that if I had not kept track of what was actually happening, I would seriously think I was crazy. Because if I called out my narcissistic person about what happened, they acted like they had no clue what was going on. I confronted them on why they behaved this way and that it actually hurt me, and they were like, oh, but you're being over dramatic, that's not what happened. Well, I do know. Narcissistic people will try to gaslight you. They will try to make you feel like you're crazy, because that's how they keep control. Personally, I would record every conversation I had with my narcissistic person, and when I felt like I was being gaslighted, I would go back and play it to me. I never used any of these recordings or any of these journals to prove a point, because you cannot win an argument with a narcissist. They will never admit their mistake, and even if you have 100% proof, they will just brush it off like, oh yeah, but I didn't mean it that way. Oh, you know, emotions were high and that's what happens. They are just like immature, spoiled children in a big body. So you have to think like you're talking to a child. You would not argue with a child. The child does not know that they are wrong. For your own sanity, don't try to prove a point to a narcissist. It could cause even worse reaction if they abuse you physically, which you don't want. But also please realize that if you are in physical danger and you seriously don't feel safe, if you feel like you are not going to make it through the day or through this hour, please make sure to call someone who can help you. If it's either your relatives or a friend, or best way is to report it to the police. It's a bit tricky in such situation, but please make sure that you stay safe. That's what's most important. Because some narcissists can be really mentally unstable, and you never know, they might lose it with physical abuse. So I know that you might not feel safe, but if you fear for your life, please seek help. Seek someone who can help you. Most importantly, remember that the situation is temporary, and it will end one day. If you're allowed to, start working as soon as you can. All I could ever think of since I was young was to start working as soon as possible so that I can make money, save up, and move once I'm 18. Try to find part-time jobs in your area, or if you're not allowed to work, you can also find ways to make money online. Majority of the time, you have to be 18 in order to make a bank account, or if you make a bank account once you're 15 or younger, up to 18, it will be controlled by your legal guardian. So that's something to keep in mind if your parents are narcissistic and controlling, because they will keep track of every money you have in your bank account. Without money, you can't really move out, so if you can find a part-time job in your area, like for example, you can work in a store, or if you are in a country where people are open to it, you can help with like housework, walk dogs for money. And if you're not allowed to work and go physically to a job, you can make money online. Just make sure you research properly, because there are some ways to make money online that don't require a lot of finances ahead. For example, digital products, or investing, or making an online business. You can also do services like, for example, video editing, photo editing. Also, a very useful skill nowadays is working with AI. So that's something to look into. There are so many resources nowadays, so make sure you find the one that fits best to your needs. Make sure you prepare where you will go once you can, and make sure that you plan ahead so you don't forget anything. Like for example, ID card, your passport, or health documents. That's very important to not forget. Also make sure you gather all your important possessions that you don't want to lose and cannot replace. If you're in such situation, you can't think like everyone else. First and foremost, you have to think of yourself and your well-being, because in the end, you just go insane, and that's not what you want. You deserve a good life. You deserve to live the life you desire. You deserve to be happy. No one can take your happiness from you. And also think about whether you want to stay in contact with your narcissistic person or not, because I know that once things calm down and you move out and you don't stay in touch that much anymore, it can be really tempting to stay in touch. But this is the case where you go over your journal and remember everything you have been through, because majority of narcissists, once they realize that they lost control over you, they will try to act nice, they will try to manipulate you into staying, they will try to suck your energy all over again, they will try to gaslight you, and they will try to make you crazy for leaving or for wanting to leave, in which case you can either text or stay in touch a few times throughout the year, or you can cut them off completely, in which most scenarios this is the best thing you can do. You don't have to feel guilty for putting yourself first. You are the most important person in your life, and you have to think for yourself. You have to think for a better future. You have to think whether you like how you are being treated, and if you are not, cut it off. Just set boundaries, because this is your life and your life revolves around you. You don't owe anything to anyone, especially to your abusers. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing happiness. That will be all for me for today. I really want you to remember that whatever situation you are finding yourself right now, I promise you it will get better. Please don't give up. I love you so much. You deserve all the happiness in the world. I'm sending you so much love.